I saw this trailer for this documentary that said the man who's having a baby, and I turned on, and it's a woman going through a sex change, and she's pregnant. That's not a man having a baby. That's a woman having a beard,
having a breakdown.
Why is that? That's a con. That is pure sense. It's a man having a baby. Look, the world's first. No, it's the woman. It's a woman. What do you think of that? What would you do for your doctor? And I came to you and went, Carl, listen, I'm having a bit of a rethink of these. The penis, I hate it. I hate this cock.
But what do you mean you hate it?
I hate it. I don't want it there. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. It just sits there resting on these fucking awful testicles that I'm gonna get rid of. I want this thrown away.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, they're not a great look. I know that. Everyone knows that. It's just the way they are. I mean, if we're all being honest, they're an odd design. I don't think anyone likes their own, do they? That's why we cover them. They're not a great thing, are they?
What? It's not why we cover them, though, is it?
It's part of it, I think. I think deep down, I mean, even if, like, I know you hate the Adam and Eve thing, but even if back then he was like, good God, cover them up. Even he had a leaf on.
No, but listen. Right. So, are you thinking fundamentally, then, that aesthetically, the testicles and the penis isn't as good as it could be? What would you have there instead?
Well, it's designed that way because that's the way it's got to be designed. It's more about function than
yeah.
And that's the thing, isn't it? With modern technology,
you know, the thing is, the testicles have to be outside because they have to be a few degrees below body temperature.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the Sertoli cells die, which sort of feed to semen and all that. So, they you know, to be functioning and sort of like fertile, they have to be outside, which is annoying because I'd put a little rib cage around them, like that. I'd pop a rib cage round those, protect them, wear a cricket box, have that built in, so you cannot get a swift kick in the bollocks that makes you feel sick.
But it'd be better if they could sort of reverse up in a way that they were hidden away. Right. So that they were just, then you dropped them, it's like, right, we need to cool them down, be at it in about half an hour.
Yeah.
Drop them down.
Yeah, like the gear on an aeroplane, landing gear. Yeah, and landing gear down, and the bollocks and the cooling down. Or you could just pop them in the fridge for 10 minutes.
It's well, like they could detach and you could pop them in the fridge. Cool
yeah.
Down.
Can you make me some breasts?
Easy.
Okay. Go on, you say easy, what are you going to do? What's your plan?
Just, how do you do that? It's tablets, isn't it?
No, but...
Testosterone, isn't it?
Testosterone? No, Toblerone. I want some Toblerone.
Just well, sort of pointy tits, like Madonna.
Where do you stop though? Supposing I came to you and said, "Doctor, listen, I like the bollocks, I like the penis, but I don't like them where they are. I want them in the middle of my chest. I want breasticles. Yeah, the arse, I don't like it round the back. I can't see what's going on. Pop that on the front where the bollocks were. I want my arse where I can look down and see what's going on. Can you do it?"
I think it's just easier to move the head, isn't it?
Rick, I know you're a big fan of Professor Richard Dawkins, the evolutionary biologist. He wrote a book, The Ancestor's Tale, in which he predicted a post-human world. This was his kind of hypothesis. If we were well, let me read what he's written. If nuclear war destroys humanity and most of the rest of life, a good bet for survival in the short term and for evolutionary ancestry in the long term is rats. I have a post-Armageddon vision. We and all the other large animals are gone. Rodents emerge as the ultimate post-human scavengers. They gnaw their way through New York, London and Tokyo, digesting spilled larders, ghost supermarkets and human corpses, and turning them into new generations of rats and mice, whose racing populations explode out of the cities and into the countryside. When all the relics of human profligacy are eaten, populations crash again and the rodents turn on each other, and on the cockroaches scavenging with them. In a period of intense competition, short generations perhaps with radioactivity-enhanced mutation rates boost rapid evolution. With human ships and planes gone, islands become islands again, with local populations isolated, save for occasional lucky raftings. Ideal conditions for evolutionary divergence. Within 5 million years, a whole range of new species replace the ones we know. Herds of giant grazing rats are stalked by saber-toothed predatory rats. Given enough time, will a species of intelligent, cultivated rats emerge? Will rodent historians and scientists eventually organise careful archaeological digs and through the strata of our long-compacted cities reconstruct the peculiar and temporally tragic circumstances that gave ratkind its big break?
Carl, thoughts?
I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Pablo Picasso once stated, "We all know that art is not truth. Art is a lie that makes us realise truth." From painting and poetry to symphonies and sculpture, the arts bring beauty and illumination to some, confusion and frustration to others. But what is art? The idea of a work of art, created by an artist, did not truly exist before the Renaissance. And what value do the arts still have? Do they still make us realise the truth, or are they increasingly rarefied and obsolete in this digital, disposable age? With me to discuss the wide spectrum of the arts are Stephen Merchant, graduate of the University of Warwick and award-winning writer.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Karl Pilkington, a man with no qualifications, very little education, but who is now known the world over as a man with a head like a fucking orange.
Alright.
Well, I suppose if I can pick up on something from your introduction, Ricky, you posed the question, in a sense, what is art? It's a very broad term.
It's a very difficult one as well. I think the earliest people to ponder it were the Greeks, and I think they thought that art was, and its point was to try and emulate as close as possible the beauty of nature. So they knew art was a sort of, a quest for beauty, and I suppose they thought nature was pretty perfect in its aesthetic, and so the point of an artist was to try and tap into that.
Well, let me throw that question over to Karl Pilkington.
What do you want to know?
Well, we were just trying to clarify what art is. Ricky's just referring back to the Greeks.
It's just something for your eyes to look at.
Right.
It's just a change from the norm, innit? I mean, that's why I think most people have it. But then, the problem is, I'd never buy a piece of art. I don't see the point in buying something, because I know that my eyes will get bored of it eventually.
Right.
So it's better to keep it in a museum, like a lot of places, a lot of museums keep the stuff. They rotate it, because people get sick of looking at it. They shift the art around, don't they? People go, I'm sick of that now. They move it around the world, let someone else's eyes look at it.
Well, that's more to get everyone the chance to see it, as opposed to the people who looked at it once and now sick of it.
Oh, not the shitting Mona Lisa again. If
No,
I
but
have to
how many
stare at
times
that
can you
little
look at the
bitch.
same thing? I think there's a snobbery with art. I think people do go,
Well, I
have you
think
seen
that-
the new one at the Louvre? Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I think
it's
there should
lovely.
be a snobbery with art.
Why?
Because the world is full of idiots, and just because there's not safety in numbers with art. I think you should be a complete fascist when you're creating a work of art. I don't think it is open to utilitarian or democratic referendum.
At the
You end
end
up
of
with the X Factor winner that way.
No, I know, but that pleases the masses. That's what I'm saying. When there was a painting knocking about when I was a kid, right, called The Blue Boy.
Yeah.
Now every house had one, right? It
Well-
turned out that it was just a bloke who had a load and he was flogging them to everyone. But the thing is, that sums up art to me. Someone's got a load. Do you want one? Go on, then I've got a wall to fill, and they stick it on. It's not. No, what does that represent?
Well,
What's that going to bring to the room? It's just filling a gap, and that's what art is to me. It's filling a gap that would otherwise have nought in it.
but you're obsessed with the functionality of things. This is all you're ever obsessed with. What's its function? Things always need to get you from A to Z in some way, and art's not about that.
Have you got much art in your house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it gives me pleasure, and I don't get tired of it. I don't get bored.
Do you look at it every day?
Well, it's there, isn't it? It just adds.
Yeah, but other things
a
are there.
pleasure to
Dust
it.
is there, but
Surprisingly, I've not compared
I think
art
I've
to dust
looked,
as often as I perhaps should. But the thing about, and this I think may be intriguing to you, Damien Hirst, of course, is more of a conceptual artist like Tracy Emin, and a lot of what contemporary art does is followed on from a guy called Marcel Duchamp, who I'm sure you're familiar with. Now, he famously took a gentleman's white urinal like you'd find in a pub toilet, and he put it on its side, and he signed it with a fake name, and he put it in an art gallery. Now, he did that in about 1917, perhaps a bit later.
It just annoys me, because there'll be snobby people who haven't got a clue, and they're looking at that and they go, oh yeah, I see what he's trying to say.
Well, that might make them think. They might.
Damien Hirst, I don't feel angry with Damien Hirst, really, because he's
Right.
getting away with it.
But why does that annoy you?
Because it's people falling into the trap. Damien Hirst, before he dies, I bet he goes, what a laugh that was. I had everyone on.
There's a very good point as well, because some people think that the greatest art form of the last 100 years is marketing.
Yeah.
Some people say that that is his art, that it's not good enough to do it. You've got to then get away with it. And if the point of art is to inflame, I don't think anything inflames people more than the discussion about whether something's art, or if someone's taking the piss, or if someone gets 50 million for something, do they deserve it? Is it worth a hospital?
Well, what do you think? What do you think of the shark in a tank?
I think I was blown away by it. I
thought
thought
the
I'd
shark
never
tank
seen anything
was-
like
yeah.
it before.
It was sort of spectacular because it is so huge and so vast, and to have put a shark, in formaldehyde and to have hung it in an art gallery, it's very striking when you see it.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
is.
remarkable achievement.
But what is
went
he? Is he an
to
artist or a fishmonger? What he's done, anyone could have done what he did.
Yes, but not everyone did it. He did it. Now, this is an interesting point that you raise. It's the same old point you always raise. Not anyone could have done it. That's always the same point you make. Anyone could have done it.
Carl,
But they didn't do it.
You could say the same about Michelangelo. Is he an artist or a painter and decorator?
Well, it hasn't caught on, has it? Like the crying boy photograph. No one's having them in their house. No one's gone, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen the new trend, a shark in a tank? No one's got the room, no one wants it. And that, to me, shows you what's popular. At the end of the day, if everyone wants one, he's got to be good, hasn't it?
But I think if people were given a chance to appreciate more sophisticated things, then they would. And I just think that's true in all walks of life. You know, it's an acquired taste, and the best things are an acquired taste. They really are.
Well,
You know, if all you eat is processed cheese and white bread, you get a taste for it. But if you try something that's, in my opinion, better than that, then, you'll leave that behind.
That's pretty rich coming from you.
I know, I love a bit of cheddar, don't I, on Mother's Pride.
Yeah. Whereas if you were to be offered perhaps some calamari, your reaction would be...
Squid, get it out of my face.
Sure. Yeah. But I take your point, Rick. Thanks for it anyway.
Calamari was an artist, by the way.
I mean, I haven't got pictures in our flat because of that mirrored wall I've got.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's tiny. You've been in it. I've got windows on one wall, door to get in on the other, kitchen on the other, mirrored wall on the other. So there's
No
nowhere
space for
there.
art.
There's no space for art.
I'm intrigued how you sit at home. Where's the sofa?
At home,
Yeah.
facing the mirror.
So you sit looking at yourself all night,
Yeah.
as opposed to a painting.
Yeah, but at least that changes each day.
No, it doesn't.
It does. The picture
No,
changes.
it's not. It's round and miserable every fucking day.
No, honestly, it's good to, because you don't look at yourself otherwise. Especially me, I haven't got any hair to comb or anything, so I don't look in the mirror as much as the normal person. So, whereas now, I'm looking there every day.
So you're sat at home staring at yourself?
No, because the telly's in front of the mirror.
But are you not distracted by yourself?
Yeah, you do. When the adverts are on, you look up, and if Suzanne's sat next to me, I tend to talk to her through the mirror.
What do you mean? So why don't you look at her when you talk to her?
Well, you don't have to turn your neck or anything. There's no neck usage going on. I can just look forward. I look at the telly, lift the eyes up, look in the mirror, look at me, look at her.
What does she do? Look back at you
We're
in the
used
mirror.
to it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like there's more people in the room in a way. It's like,
And they're further away.
There's nothing odd about that. Why wouldn't you use... It doesn't matter. Your
Sorry,
eyes, remember, your
why
eyes
wouldn't
are
you
still...
talk to your girlfriend via a mirror all the time? Is that your question?
Well, no, I think it's quite normal. If your head is facing a mirror where you can see everything in that room, remember, it's a small flat, I can see everything that's going on in there without moving my head. Stephen Hawking would be well happy. So I can look forward, she's sat next to me. If I'm watching the telly, I can say something. Now, she's getting the sound from me still because she's sat close.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're further away, but things look better from a distance anyway.
So that's how you managed to keep this relationship alive.
Maybe.
You're such an odd little man.
But no, it's not odd. You see, there was a woman on the estate who did use... Have I told you about Miss Piggy before?
No.
It rings a bell. Go on.
I think I told you ages ago, it's this fat woman who used to be on the estate. She had a three-wheeler bike. And her
Push
husband's...
bike, pedal bike.
Yeah, like a tricycle thing, but a big one.
Right.
She used to sit her husband in the basket in the back. Cycle about, whatever.
Yeah.
She was known as Miss Piggy. Anyway.
Oh, is this the one that she used to beat him up so your dad pretended to be a policeman?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
one, yeah. You remember?
No, I don't remember this.
Yeah, she used to always duff her husband up and that, and people in the area knew that she was being a bit tight on him. And my dad went round with his mate and sort of...
But what's this got to do with the mirror?
Anyway, well, the way she used to communicate, she used to always go in quick save and nick biscuits. And if anyone went up to her to say, stop nicking the biscuits, she'd pull out like a little mirror out of a bag, and she'd look in it, but talk to you via the mirror.
Oh, man!
What?
This
So she
place
was
you
insane.
grew up- It's weird, isn't it? It's
It was
like-
really weird.
Like
It used to scare
Narnia.
me.
It's like a Salvador Dali painting. you exist in there.
Yeah. It's really, really
So
weird.
hang on. So she used to talk to people through the mirror because she was mental.
I couldn't sit, watch the telly, and look at me watching the telly in the mirror all night.
No,
That's
no,
weird.
that would
Why?
be really weird.
It's really weird, Carl.
I'd be very conscious of myself.
No, yeah,
conscious
I
of the
think
way
it
I'm
gives you,
sad.
it gives you confidence and that. And if you are
Gives you
sort of...
confidence.
Well, yeah, because you're seeing yourself more and you pick up what habits you do and stuff like that.
So what have you changed through your viewing of yourself?
I sort of grew a beard the other week, just something different to look at for a bit. And then you get sick of that. It's like a piece of art. Change that, have a bit of a shave.
Can you see the back of the telly in the mirror?
A little bit, yeah. If the flat's a mess, it's a mess twice.
The earliest art, which we know, which we call cave paintings, they date back between 30 and 10,000 years BC. Even those people tried to brighten up their cave with a bit of art. So in many ways, they were more advanced than you.
Yeah, but they didn't have a big mirror. I mean, if you're living in a cave, let's face it, you're not going to go mad if your kids start drawing, doodling on the cave wall, are you? Doesn't matter.
Right.
Brighten it up. But they always did the same thing. It was always a yak, wasn't it?
Well,
What?
There's always a yak.
Yeah, but they drew what they saw. I mean, yeah, I love the fact that 30,000 years ago they're being criticised for being a bit literal.
No, but surely, if all you ever see when you step out the cave is a yak, do something different on the wall for when you get in.
What?
Why is it always a yak on every wall?
Is it always a yak?
It's always a yak. Whenever you see these Tom Robinson Time Team programmes...
Who's Tom Robinson?
He's the
Who's
guy
a-
who did Motorway, isn't he?
Yeah, and a 70s singer-songwriter. Tony Robinson, you mean?
Tony Robinson, whenever you see him digging around, they say, hold up everyone, get the brush, what's this? It's always a yak. Yet they pretend they're interested.
So
They pretend
you're
that-
saying that you wouldn't have, you'd have been sort of, no, I'm not going to draw a yak, I just saw a yak outside.
This is what I'm saying to you about trends. One person has it, the next caveman goes, I'll have one of them on my wall. I'll do a yak. Why was there no one just doing something a bit different?
Well,
Like
it's not true. They did. It's not true. This thing about his yak.
It's just in your own head.
the programmes I've seen, I've been to Pompeii, where they had doodling on the walls, and that was all like knobs, tits and arse,
Yeah.
all over the shop. Now, do that now, people go, that's a disgrace, rub that out, clean that, get it down. Whereas now, if you see one in Pompeii, they go, oh, look at that, look at the detail on that.
Well,
And
yeah.
that's what I'm saying, there's snobbery in art. It's the same knob. The knob has not changed.
Yeah, but I imagine in 50,000 years' time, if they dig up a cubicle, and there's tits and arse, people will
yak.
take pictures of
There
it
won't
again.
be. This is the interesting thing with the way we live now. We're cleaning stuff up constantly now. There's no almost no record of our time because we're getting rid of everything. We clean everything up. Everything's clean. Getting rid of rubbish. Recycling everything.
Well, that's a very good point. Is graffiti a valid art form?
Some of it is.
I think it is, yeah. I mean, we're not talking about the classic spunking dick, which is still, I mean, it's still great, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if
you see a lovely clean white wall and you see a spunking dick on it, you're going to laugh.
always laugh. Do you add hair to the testicles when drawing a smoking dick?
A few. The testicles.
Because it's always clean. My testicles are always clean.
Really?
Yeah, I never.
I put the 4 or 5 bristles sticking out straight.
See, I always thought that was a kind of commoner version.
It looks like mine looks like I don't mean my real one. I mean my
Your illustrative.
yeah.
cockles, yeah.
It looks like 2 gooseberries and Thunderbird 2.
Do you add much detail at the tip of the penis?
No, it's a straightforward. It's dissecting across, just a line across to show the helmet.
Yeah.
Then one little line for the eye.
Do you tend to keep the same number of droplets coming out? Spunk droplets.
I do 3, but I don't do the line. I actually do the little teardrop.
The little teardrop
droplets.
spunk,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that is the spunking dick. As
When I was at school, it was referred to, and this may be specific to Bristol, it was referred to as the sacred. I've
Why?
just drawn a sacred.
Oh really?
I don't know where the origin of that was.
Some graffiti is funny. I saw one in London. It just said, "Rachel is a big-arsed, big-chinned cunt." Now, I think Rachel's going to see that and know. Well, I'm the only big-arsed, big-chinned cunt round here. I don't know how big her chin was.
Sure.
I think of her chin maybe looking like the arse.
Yeah.
It's like the big arse, like that, but maybe she couldn't see the last part of it because the chin was in the way. Rachel is and that's
Now,
all she
where
could
was this
see.
graffiti written?
It was in near Centre Point.
So, do you think someone was so angry
Well,
with
I
Rachel?
think maybe Rachel nicked this woman's fella,
Right.
and she went out.
Yeah, and
And just
scrawled
put-
that
Yeah,
in a lot of different places. I saw one that was something, I don't know, it was back in Bristol, it was something like, Michael Peters is gay. And I always wondered if that was Michael Peters himself, who was having trouble coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
And was just writing that in a number of different places. So that by the time he finally mentioned people, they went, oh yeah, I knew that anyway, I saw it in the toilet.
Sculptures. What do you think of sculptures? I mean, because that's something that really is getting into the 3D world there, isn't it? No longer do you have to represent something as 3D. You can make something. The statues are amazing, aren't they?
They're clever, aren't they? I mean, they always look the same.
Well, that's not true, is it? Because recently there was quite a controversial one, a huge one, in London. The pregnant thalidomide woman. What do you think of that?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Thoughts?
I wouldn't have it in my house.
Well, there wouldn't be room, because it would just be you, Suzanne, and a pregnant thalidomide watching telly.
I don't know what he was trying to say. It's
Maybe she was saying, okay, we've had the human form. This is an example of the human form.
yeah, but do you think she started off trying to do normal, and it was like, oh, I've chipped a bit off?
One of the arms got chipped
Well,
off.
it makes you wonder, doesn't it? And why? You see that square, Trafalgar Square. You got that. Nelson's column. He's got one arm and a leg missing or something, and a patch over his eye. Then you've got the thalidomide. Why can't they just do a full person?
Woo! That was what they saw. That was what the artist saw.
It's about confronting us with certain preconceptions of what we expect of the human form, what we expect of sculpture. It's probably a little ironic comment as well on the famous Rodin. It's been wrapped up with all kinds of ideas of maternity, of the human form, of what sculpture is. Why wouldn't you put that in a big public place?
What about the subject? Did you think who's that subject? Who is that woman?
No, not really, because thalidomides are around, and we've all seen one. It's not like a shocking image. It's one of life's little things that it chucks out. There's some out there, so
Amazing.
it's not
Amazing.
shocking, is it? I don't understand what you mean. I think what I thought is, it just goes to show we're sort of running out of ideas.
What do you think of people who are so angry at art they try and censor it or they try and destroy it? Do you think art should ever be censored?
It's where you put it. If it's in a gallery, then it doesn't have to be censored. If it's in Trafalgar Square, where everyone's wandering around having a nice time, you don't want a 12-foot cock. So it's all about where you put it. I think some art looks better because of where it is. Angel of the North, that's a bit of art, but it's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? You're driving along a miserable motorway.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that over there? Gives you something for your eyes to look at again. Motorways are the most boring place to drive. But you go, look, there's a bit of art over there.
Yeah, but
Stick that
then
Angel
again,
of the
should you be
North.
looking at art when you're going at 70 miles an hour along a motorway?
Well, yeah, because it's really big. You can keep your eye on it and
Look in the mirror.
It's not a problem.
Wait till you go past it and look in the mirror like normal.
So you like the Angel of the North,
Because it's something in the middle of nothing.
right? But if you put it somewhere else,
Stick it in Trafalgar Square, you'd go, oh, more clutter.
now you've spoken, Carl, about art and what impact does it have, blah blah blah. And as Ricky's just pointed out, of course, in some instances, art has been considered incredibly controversial, very provocative, and has been banned. Famously, one thinks of the Nazis banning and burning certain books, not all of which were just books, criticising them. It was often artistic works, things which they felt were subversive in some sense, and you get that in many repressive regimes where people's artistic work is not allowed to express the way they feel about something. Stalinist Russia, for instance, art there, literature, are not able to express its views because people see it as dangerous, as provocative.
Well, yeah, the threat always comes from scholars with like any dictatorship, and they know that.
But not just scholars writing, scholarly texts, criticisms, but also people expressing themselves through poetry, through creativity.
Well, yeah,
things which are not
expression's
direct.
dangerous, yeah.
They can be abstract, and yet they can still be subversive.
Yeah, but I think if it's done in a way that isn't just like a lunatic, they get away with it. Like a nice poem, some people would read it in a different light. I might read it and go, I don't even know what they're going on about there. So, as long as it's done clever, get away with it, don't they? So
Well,
it
no,
makes the
often not
artist
the
better.
case, but that's not often not the case. That's
When?
what I'm saying. Often in these regimes, these things are repressed.
No, but there's always like code words and that you can use and they can't have you on it.
Such as?
I don't know. I'm not into that sort of work.
Right,
Well-
so you've just made a statement there, but it's not backed up with any actual
No,
information.
what if you
Well,
do
there
it
was
in
a good
clever
point
way?
there. No, there was a very good point there. The McCarthy era, where he was threatened by communism infiltrating the country, and he thought that entertainers might be a part of that, the conspiracy. It was a hotbed, and he made everyone come forward, writers, actors, say they're not a communist, and some people were out in the cold, and so people had to be a bit cleverer, like was it Arthur Miller, The Crucible? It's a metaphor. It's about witch hunts, but it's about the McCarthyism. So yes, good point. You can put coded messages
CB
into
radio
art.
was the same thing.
Go on.
Well, it's all the codes. As long as you've got
Yeah, okay.
codes.
Well, I thought you had. I mean, I was trying to make your point sort of more valid than it obviously
No,
was.
but if you need to refer to CB radio, that's the obvious.
Well,
the
that's
obvious
what I can
justification.
relate to.
Sure.
Yeah, we've done this. There's no point in CB radio. They go. How many candles are you burning? What? How old are you? 8. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's no point to those codes at all.
But this is in no way relatable to The Crucible. Why would you be talking about one of the most respected plays of the 20th century, and suddenly this in your head reminds you of CB radio?
Just having this code going on that only certain people know how to break.
Everyone knew it.
No, it's
pointless.
Not back then. They didn't.
Pointless. I remember we were shown the cartoon version of Animal Farm when we were about like 15, 16. We were discussing it afterwards about Napoleon. Oh yeah, great. Oh yeah, communism versus the poor proletariat and all this. And this bloke went, "You lot make me sick. It was just a nice film about some animals." Brilliant.
Yeah.
Perfect.
What's your take on that, Carl? No, go on. What's your point? Because you can see the irony there, can't you?
I haven't seen it.
No.
If you want to do a serious point, don't use animals.
No? Well, I disagree with that because we're going to get onto literature later, and I think my favourite is probably Charles Dickens, and I think the greatest story ever told is A Christmas Carol, and there's only one way that could ever be improved, and that is a Muppet Christmas
That's
Carol.
absolutely right, yeah.
So, and I think that you could, and I think people could take a lesson from that and maybe do other films with the Muppets. A Muppet Schindler's List.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make it so moving, couldn't you?
Schindler's List in space. Yeah. Well, I think it would certainly help bring that story to a wider audience.
I think so.
A lot
Yeah.
of people who, like Carl, who were put off perhaps by the depressing black and white of it, they would suddenly see the Muppets singing and dancing.
Miss Piggy's Choice.
Miss Piggy's Choice, yeah.
Well, we talked about that.
What?
About things like that in art as well. Do you think that bringing something so serious to the masses, like films do, things like the Holocaust and like Sophie's Choice, where she has to choose which child lives and dies.
Why did she have to pick?
Well, because the Nazis were horrible, nasty, evil people.
And which one did she pick?
I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's the point.
I love the idea that
this is not a betting game.
No, but I imagine this is like Deal No Deal. It's kind of you're down to the last two. Which one you're going to go for?
God. But why did you ask which one did she choose? Because even if he'd said the names, Robert and Alison, what difference would it make? You don't know the story. Why is
No,
it that
because
you've
then
said...
I'd ask more then. If he said Alison, I'd go, what was it with Alison? What did she have over Robert? That's what films are meant to do. You question it. Whenever I watch a film with Suzanne, I always say at the end, what was going on there?
Oh,
That's because you're an idiot.
Christ!
That's because you've just watched Muppet Christmas Carol and you can't understand why a frog's able to talk.
I'm all for films with a good storyline.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's a perfect point. One extraordinary point.
He's going to follow this up, mate. He's going to follow
He's got
this up.
something there. He's got
Come
something
on,
here.
Carl, go on then. What's your
No.
take on films?
Films are really good. You can get lost in them.
Right.
And
You like one with a good story?
I mean, whenever anyone asks, it's always the same. It's Elephant Man. It's Kez. Mission Impossible 2.
Mission Impossible 2. These are what you consider great works
No, I'm
of
just
film
saying
art.
these are ones that I've enjoyed recently. There's so many films that I haven't seen, yet you always say, "Oh, have you seen so and so?" You
Well,
love
Mission
it.
Impossible 1.
There's good news for you. 3's out.
That's true.